How are you guys doing? Thank you for watching the next installment of Coding with Alex. I'm your host, Alex, and in this installment we're going to be hooking everything up to our login and register components using the helper functions that we built out in the Firebase class. So if you guys missed the last video, you might be encountering an error within our Firebase helper class, and that is to do with the constructor on line 20. Here I just made a little typo. Instead of Firebase with the capital F, it's just supposed to be Firestore. I do apologize for that, but hopefully you guys didn't spend too many times or too long banging your head against that. So let's go ahead and start on the harder of the two components, and that's going to be the register component. So as you guys can see, taking another look over it, we have our container, and then within the container we have our card that is holding a form with 4 inputs and a button to submit the form. So on submit, the form is hooked up to run the handle submit function that we have up here, which all we have in here is just preventing the page from refreshing. So what we want to do is, for the sake of code reusability and readability, we're going to create a new function outside of the handle submit and then call that function within the handle submit. So because if you guys will recall, we made our register function an async function because we needed to await this method. We are also going to have to create an async function here called OnRegister. And within this OnRegister, we're going to have a try and catch block. And within this try block, we're just going to have our actually registering. So first things first, what we need to do is import our Firebase class that we created in the last video. So we're going to import Firebase from config Firebase. And then now that we have it imported, we can actually go ahead and use it. So let's call firebase.register and then pass in the variables that we stored up here on our onChange within our register according to how we set them up here. So it has to go email, password, first name, last name. So email, password, first name, last name. And then after that registers, we want to simply just push the user to the dashboard URL. So we're going to use that push again from props. Excellent. And for the last part, the catch, it's going to take in an error, and then I'm just going to have it alert the message of that error for debugging purposes. Okay, cool. Oops, a little bit of a typo there. Remember to put that T. Let's go ahead and call our onRegister function within the handle submit here so that it actually runs. And that is looking like it should be it. Let's go ahead and give it a test here real quick. And I also want to point one thing out. On our inputs in this register for password, I added one thing between the videos, and that's so on input on line 51 in our register.js component, I added a type of password, and that's just so that the password is not type seen. You guys are probably used to seeing it like that. I just forgot to do it when we were creating our inputs. So let's go ahead and give this a try, clicking the register button, and it does direct us to the dashboard component, so that's a good sign. Let's go ahead and check our Firebase Authentication, and there we go. We can see that we successfully registered a user using Firebase and ReactJS Hooks. If you guys made it this far, I would certainly pat yourself on the back, as this is a pretty cool accomplishment. But yeah, let's not stop here. Let's keep on going. We're going to move into our login component, and like I said earlier, this one is going to be even easier than the register. So let's do the same thing that we did before. Import Firebase from config Firebase. And then again, within that handle submit, this time we're just going to put it straight in here without the need for another function. Call firebase.login, pass in the email and password, and then after that we're going to put a .then on it, so once it's done we can eventually do something, and that's something that we're going to want to do is push the user again using props.history to a new URL, and that URL again being the dashboard. Okay. Finally, we need one last thing, and that is the catch on this one. So we're going to do a .catch, and then take in an error, and then again alert the user to the error. Cool, cool, cool. That should be all that we need to do for the login, to be honest. Let's go ahead and give it a test. So that's okay. That's just our dashboard, so yeah, that's not going to work. But so let's use that same email and password that I just created, and see if we actually go into the dashboard component. I also have to make the same thing, the type of password, on the login.js page as well. And there we go. It worked. It successfully logged in and pointed us to the dashboard component. Alright guys, I would consider this a smashing success so far. The last thing that we're going to do is use the context API to persist the user. And yeah, I'll show you guys that in the next video. But yeah, pat yourself on the back, take a break. You guys have done a lot so far. This is a huge accomplishment. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video.